couple of years ago, Business Vancouver included Jason McLean on its list of top 40 under 40. McLean is a UBC and Harvard graduate, a lawyer, a former special assistant to Prime Minister Jean Chretien, and current CEO of the McLean Group. All of this serves him well in his new position as chair of the Vancouver Board of Trade, or VBOT, as it is affectionately called. It is my pleasure to welcome Jason McLean to Studio 4 to tell us more. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Take me back to your political roots. Dad's a Liberal, I know that.
So I'm told, yes.
You've heard that, eh?
Yes, it's around the dinner table as a kid many times.
Mm-hmm. And you worked with Prime Minister Chretien as an advance man for 2 years?
For 2 years. I was a young lawyer in Vancouver, and I decided to run away and join the circus for a couple of years, and I had the opportunity to go to Ottawa and work for Prime Minister Chretien as his advance man. So essentially I would go wherever he would go in the world first and set things up, and it was a great privilege and a great experience.
I'm sure. Did you keep the number of all those ambassadors?
I did. A lot of them have moved on since, and of course I certainly don't have the same insight into the federal government these days as I did then, but it was a tremendous way to learn about Canada, to see the world, and to frankly spend some time with one of Canada's greatest politicians.
Ah, the little guy from Shawinigan. We miss him at times, don't we?
I miss him a lot.
Mm-hmm. Did you meet other dignitaries, U.S. presidents, anything like that?
I did. On my actual final day working for Mr. Chretien, I took him to New York, and we had a UN speech to give at the UN headquarters, and then he wanted to visit Bill Clinton in his then new Harlem offices, and so I had the strange experience of taking the Prime Minister of Canada to the streets of Harlem, where we hung out for an hour waiting for Mr. Clinton to show up in his motorcade, and I got to meet the U.S. President and had a lovely photo taken, and it was a great experience. So I met, some of my other colleagues met rock stars and other dignitaries, but that was probably my highlight.
Yeah, President Clinton, and he comes here a lot, as you know, so now you've got that connection.
He does.
But connections are a lot of what it's about in business and in play, as you know. As the chair of the Board of Trade, who should join? Why should people join the Board of Trade or not?
It's a very good question. We tend to appeal to business members, but I think the value proposition essentially is in the network, the advocacy that we do, and the way I see it is the Board of Trade is a big part of helping business earn the social license to flourish, to give back to the community in a structured, consistent way. And it's amazing what happens when groups of business people from all types of industry sectors and demographics get together to work on social problems. This year, we issued a report on early childhood development called Kids in Crime, where we ascribed essentially numerical and financial impacts of getting to kids early that were headed for trouble, and helping families that were in need. Of course, we are coming up with a healthcare report soon from a business perspective, to help government deal with the very intractable problem of healthcare spending spiraling out of control at the expense of a lot of other things. And there's all kinds of issues that we are able to deal with and have a voice on, and the reason you should join is because your membership be highly prized, and your energy and your time will be well spent.
If you're a small business person.
Or big.
Advantage?
I think, 80% of our members are small businesses. I think we have tremendous appeal to them. We have about 5,500 members. But we have big businesses there too, and it's important to have that mix. We don't want to be one-dimensional. It's important to have the larger businesses' perspective on things, but of course, small business is a real backbone of the BC economy, and that's an important driver.
And you advocate for small business, I'm sure.
Very much, very much.
New Premier, I hear tell. Almost. A Premier designate.
Premier
British
designate.
Columbia.
Yes.
Premier Christy Clark.
Yes.
Is she on your list to speak yet?
I put in the ask the day after she won. I certainly congratulated her publicly. The Board of Trade is quite excited to have a new Premier Designate in place, somebody that we can deal with on big issues of interest to the business community and to the communities in general. It also, I think, helps government get past a certain frozen period of time where this was really the focus of their energies, and now that we have the leadership question solved, we can actually move forward with dealing with some of the big issues.
And do you take political positions on issues like HST referendum?
We take positions on issues. We don't take political positions in elections and so on.
Right.
On the HST, you bet we're going to take a position. We're going to be for it. We're going to be very vocal, and we're going to try to help tell the story that British Columbians need to hear so they have the right information to make the right decision.
And are you saying for it at 12% or for it at 10% or just for it?
Well, we're saying for it for a number of reasons. Going backwards is really not an option at this point. Whether you dislike the way it was brought in or not, the issue is past. The issue is this the right macroeconomic tax program for British Columbia? Is it the right thing for competitiveness and for business success? And what are the costs of unwinding it? And those facts need to get out there.
Sure, and if you unwind it, where's the money going to come from?
Exactly, and how are you going to retrain businesses to deal with going sort of back to a PST structure? It's unwieldy, it's unrealistic, and we need to bell that cat.
Well, there's a great little Italian restaurant in my hood, and the man who owns it has sort of been the poster boy for HST from both aspects. When it came in, he was frustrated and couldn't believe it and wasn't for it. And now, once he did his books and went back, said, you know, there's some advantage to me as an owner.
Yes, I've heard of him, and speaking on from our business perspective, our largest business is the film and television industry, Vancouver Film Studios. On July 1st, our phones started ringing off the hook because suddenly we were on equal footing with Ontario and had a sudden overnight 7% advantage on the input side for our customers. So they were able to come up here and have their money go further. For us to go backwards would be, I think, a major step back for our industry.
Well, they also have to ask the right question on the ballot, and I don't know that is being formed. Premier Designate Clark has a lot on her agenda, but she needs to get that HST elephant out of the room.
She does. And I think that it will fall on groups like the Board of Trade, businesses in general, employers in general, to tell the story. I don't think you can leave it to government to frame this debate, because it's really about the economy, and it's got to come from the economic engine of this province.
And the unification of this province at every level, perhaps. As you know, the BC Liberals are made up of Conservatives and Liberals at a federal level. So again, Premier Designate Clark is going to have to bring that together. Lekstrom joined the caucus, I understand, yesterday?
Yes.
Not sure, but...
I think that's a good sign for unity. Obviously, the Free Enterprise Coalition is a coalition, and it involves members from all stripes, not unlike the Board of Trade. Around our board table, there are people with various political backgrounds. And I think early days suggest that the Premier Designate understands the importance of this. The people on the transition team are not a bunch of federal Liberals at all. And in fact, I think that's an irrelevant area of criticism. I think she's well beyond that sort of framing of federal parties, and she's being very inclusive, and I think that's a good sign.
Sure, and it needs to be said, we need somebody in the trench who is good at managing the BC economy. I know the NDP wannabe leaders met and met with some business people to say, we can do it.
Yeah, and that's a good sign. And I must say the Board of Trade meets with all comers from various political parties. We need to have good working relationships with both sides of the political debate, and we look forward to engaging with them as well.
Jason McLean, our guest, he's the new chair of the Vancouver Board of Trade. We'll come back and talk more.